Hello, everybody. How are you? Today is our 6th anniversary of Our Time to Quilt. 6 years ago, it was little few, about 3 or 4 months, or maybe 5 months before 6 years ago, that I was sitting there telling Mark, I think I want to start a YouTube channel. And he was like, "What? You want to what?" It's like, "Yeah, I was thinking I'd like to start a YouTube channel to have people to quilt with. And I miss having my sewing time with my Michelle. And it would be nice to have somebody to quilt with." And he was like, "Are you sure you'd want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, I really think so." So we went looking around for cameras, and I was telling him how I thought I could set up the space to do it. And it just grew from there. First, we had a Yahoo group. Then, when Yahoo dropped out, we went to Groups.io, and I love their group. It's wonderful. And I have met the most wonderful people along the way. People like Susan Smith, who used to be a great member here and is now moved on to many wonderful things. Bonnie was here from almost the beginning, and it was so cute. She would always help me remember my words because, I tend to forget my words often. But she would help me kind of stay on task. I need to turn off my heater. It was cold when I came down here, but it doesn't take long for me to go, okay, I'm warm now. But Bonnie has been here since so early on. Oh, I should have brought over Nadine's quilt. Nadine from Germany was here early on. And then for our 1 year anniversary, she of Mark wearing a t-shirt with a pink flamingo. That is cute. And Nadine made us a 1 year anniversary quilt, which I treasure. It's laying back over there, but I treasure it. And so, Bonnie sent me, which I keep right here on this table. The flamingos kind of grew from that. And so it's been a nice journey. And I didn't set the world on fire, but I have met so many wonderful, nice people along the way. And the beauty is, not only have you helped me get through cancer and losing a kidney and many other ups and downs. We've helped each other as we've gone through some of our struggles, but you have reignited, or should I say, ignited my creativity far beyond what I hoped I would do. Let me check this heater real quick because yep, it's still on. Okay, now it's on. Can you imagine having a remote control for a heater? I mean, is life just too precious now or what? But it works really, really good. Got to turn this fan on. I don't like being warm. I would much rather be cold than warm. In fact, when I go to bed, it's kind of funny. I have found the best way for me to get comfortable because when I was going through the change, I couldn't even wear a sheet. Anything made me have a hot flash. But what I have found now that I'm done with that is I'll lay in the bed without any sheet or cover until I get really chilly, kind of ice myself out. Then I cover up with a sheet and I can go right to sleep. So I think I just like being nice and cool. But anyway, enough about my sleeping. What helps me sleep good? Because I got to fuel all this energy somehow. But I want to say thank you to My moderators over the years are Marcia is still here and wonderful. We've had Diane 57. We had Susan Smith. We've had some wonderful moderators. People like Lisa Capon have really been um, a joy and a learning experience for me. She's amazing with her site. So I've learned a lot. And like I always say, I have gotten more from you than I could ever give you. So thank you and happy 6 years. It is so exciting. Oh, my clock right over there hanging on the lamp was made by Carol, and she's so talented. And I absolutely love that clock. And it's the Our Time to Quilt clock. I love it. So she's a very dear, talented lady, very talented quilter and prolific. She keeps herself on a schedule. She gets up in the morning, she works in her studio from this hour to this hour. She takes a lunch break and a little nap, then comes back and works on from this hour to this hour. And it shows when she comes to our retreats, which I've got another one in a month. She brings a whole thing, a whole mess of quilts. So I'm real excited. Now, today I am honoring you all because you have been, most of you, some of you have been here for 6 years, but you are so loyal and so wonderful. You help me so much. You help me teach everyone because that's what it's about. It's about to enjoy it, finding a way to enjoy and find your happy, peaceful place and to learn. And we teach each other so well. And I love that. So let's see who of you are here. Yes, Mark and I are getting married in May. So we've got about 3 months from today to finish getting ready. But it's going to be very small and peaceful. Just us, my kids, grandkids at a park at a beautiful gazebo, and I think it's gonna be lovely. And the officiant is the woman who counseled me for 6 years and counseled Mark and I. She was a supporter of Mark and mine from the beginning. So, I'm so tickled. It'll be a very special thing. And then a couple days later, all of my kids and we've rented out a house on a lake so we can play, just play, because that's what I want. You know, when you're young, you worry about having the right dress and the right flowers. Now I just want to play and be happy. So, but that will be later in May. And I'll remind you because I'll probably take off a week or two. It's going to take that much for me to get everything ready. I'm going to do things like make trays of lasagna and a ton of cupcakes. I think instead of a wedding cake, we're going to do cupcakes because we've got some people who can't have gluten, some people who can't have dairy. That way, everybody can find that special thing just for them. So, and cupcakes are fun, and nobody has to cut anything. You just grab one. So, anyway, enough about that. But that's coming up later in May. But thank you, Marcia, for thinking about it. And in fact, you are not going to believe this. It's right now, it's in the wash because Mark saw that and said, "Oh, I want that." It's a beautiful white comforter that's gathered up in little flower clusters like a hydrangea blossom. So if it comes out of the dryer in time, I'll show you. So, but it's lovely. And Marcia, don't do that ever again. Don't spend money on me, but I love it. It's beautiful. So thank you, Miss Marcia. Okay, so Lisa's here. And there's our Marcia. Bonnie is here. Michelle the quilter. 6 years today. Gosh, I love this. Yeah, I know, Bonnie. You were here from the beginning. I loved it. Barbara Smith. I don't know if most of y'all remember, but Bonnie provided all of the prizes and awards that we would hand out in the first couple years. She kept me busy. It was wonderful. So, oh, what a dear heart Bonnie is. She has been supported from the beginning. Sonia's been around for quite a while. We love our Sonia. And Barbara Smith, hello, darling. And oh, it's so good. Joni's here. Oh, I've got some gorgeous pictures from show and tell for Miss Joni. I've got some great things from Joni. I've got some pictures from Bonnie. I've got a few others too. Pat is here. Hello, Minnie is here. Hi, Minnie. It is so good to see you. Oh, oh, that's so neat. Oh, that is so neat. Um, you are so funny. Me in a leather jacket. Don't I wish? I love it. Oh, oh no. I tell you, I have gotten so I can actually it's amazing. My creativity and my stick to itiveness has really jumped forward, and I credit y'all with that. It is wonderful. I will. My grandson's going to take pictures and I can't wait. I will definitely show you. So, oh gosh, it's so good to see all of you. Joso is here. Yes, and last night I went on the site because someone asked to join, and I went, "Oh my goodness, we've had like 5 people join in the last couple months, and I had to get caught up." But we're so tickled all of you are here, and I wanted to make sure that everyone, Crafty Pat, I had some accounts that their emails were no longer valid, and so evidently there was a problem, not with us, but a problem with Groups IO of someone hacking into part of it. And so they said, please go over your membership list, clear out any that are no longer valid. They just wanted to kind of clean up to make it less likely that people will hack into the site again, I guess. I don't understand it, but I only cleared out people who their email was no longer reachable. And Crafty Pat might have been one. I know you moved. So if you can't get in the site, then send me an email at ourtimetoquilt@twc.com and say, oh, I'm locked out. I'll send you a new invitation. You can get set up. Also, make sure when you go to look up where your membership is listed, make sure you have a first name in that name spot. Don't just have your email address, because if you don't have a first name when you go to post, we won't know who exactly is posting. So I like everybody have their at least their first name on there so we know who is talking. It is very bright out that window. I tell you what, it's about time for these leaves to get some tree for these trees to get some leaves. I couldn't have done that if I was trying to do that. But oh, and we got to give a little cross our fingers shout out to Mr. Mark, because today is the last couple days have been the annual backyard bird count, and we're participating. And so Mark set up his camera to catch a 15-minute block of time. And then we're going to list all of the birds that we identified at the feeders. And so when he set the camera up, it was so beautiful and so fascinating. It's been a while since I just sat in there and to see all the different kinds of birds that we attract because of our platform feeder. So I said, Mark, I would love this as a YouTube channel. So I'm going to try to see if I can kind of talk him into setting. He's talked about it a couple of times. And I would like to see him set up a YouTube channel um, with just a live feed of our backyard wildlife feeding area. And it was absolutely charming. So And I don't know about y'all, but Mark and I have been loving these relaxing sites. And like there's this man named Sevi, Sevy, and he's from Finland, and he does these walks around Finland in the snow. And I love the ones where he walks in the dark at night because it's peaceful and quiet and the snow is falling. All you really hear is the crunch of his feet on the snow. Talk about relaxing. So, anyway, but we love feeding the birds. Oh, Kathy Klein is doing the bird count too. Yay. And Pat was 23rd to join. Oh, yes, my first video was kind of funny because I was trying to be. And that's not who I am. Now, thank goodness, now I just come on and maybe some people don't like it, but it feels good just to be myself. It makes it so much easier. Mary is here. Debbie is here. Oh, yeah, I was trying to just be so professional and it's just not me. So, didn't take long for me to come back. Now, there have been quite a few memories walking down memory lane this last 6 years. Besides the prim and proper first video, the favorite video, the one that's gotten the most likes or looks at, was my very first studio tour. I don't know if I think that was in March. It might have been after I did my first show. And I look back at that studio tour and think the room was so clean and neat and tidy then. Now it's kind of like, whoa. Although I'm still working on it. But some other highlights when I had to have major surgery. I mean, they opened me up all down the front for the kidney cancer. I was back. I was in the hospital 4 days. I was back on the air in 3 weeks after surgery. And it was everything I could do to get down the stairs to do the show. And if I look back on that show, my voice was kind of weak, but wanting to get back to y'all, wanting to be here and to do something besides sitting there feeling uncomfortable was, I think, the best thing I could have done for my recovery. I'm trying to think of other times. Last week, we had Kiwi tangle her foot and start cutting off circulation. She's doing great now. Super, super. It doesn't even bother her. We have had, when I first got Kiwi, she got loose and the dogs kind of chased her. And I thought they might have pulled her feathers out, but I think birds will release their feathers when they're terrified. So we had that incident. Oh my goodness. We had the COVID crisis during all of this, in which it was so nice to be able to talk to anyone. There have been so many. We've had our Jody come through her life experience so well. I tell you, we've really shared our lives together over these 6 years. And I'm hoping that we will see my Michelle today. My Michelle Lang from Rhode Island. She used to live down here, and every week she'd come over to sew with me. And I missed that. When I had her sewing with me, I didn't realize that when she was gone, how much I would miss her. So this show was really started in honor of our Michelle. And she's gone through a few health things this year. But the last I heard from her son saying she's doing much better. So we're going to all cross our fingers and hope that she gets strong and all of that. And hello, Mary. Good. I'm so glad your daughter is well. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Is Jody here? I hope our Jody is here, but she might be coming in later. So now I think when we do show and tell, I'm going to show you a few minutes of my very first show because it is hilarious. And, some people might have liked that version better, but I kind of like my just have fun now. I'm happier with that. But okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about today, just briefly, is we are working on our home landscape. And this is going to be one of the quilts that is an heirloom quilt. This is going to be something that it will mean a lot to you for many years to come. You don't have to do one this big. I kind of do things big, but you can make it as small as you want. But it's coming along. It is coming along. And we haven't even had the fun part yet. All we're doing right now is blocking in color. Wait until we start doing ink tints, painting on it, doing thread sketching, embellishing. Like the bushes where I have blooms, I'm going to actually do some French knots on them. We're just going to have fun. We're just going to have fun. And you can put anything on your quilt that you want that will stay in the quilt. Now, let me check one. Whoops, let me see something real quickly. Um, I sent a message to Mark and I'm not sure he got it yet. Oh, I've got my new telephone and I have to remember it works differently. So, okay. Um, and I don't know how to even do my volume. I've got to check on that. Oh, there it is. Okay. I turned up my volume. Yay, good girl, Deb. All right. Let's see. Mm-mm. All right. I was going to ask Mark to toss down a Valentine quilt that I made 28 years ago or something. I forgot to bring it down, but I did remember one thing. Now, what don't want to get ahead of myself, but I will be showing you this in a few minutes. I wanted to show you I finished my cowl and I am going to love this because let me see if I can get it on without wrecking my hair. Oh, I don't know if I can, but you put it around your neck. And what I like about a cowl is when I try to do scarves, I don't want a big knot under my chin. So I usually try to flip it around. Then it falls off. And then Cheryl Hogan is here. Hi, sweetie. What I like about a cowl too is I can bring it up over my nose on those cold days. So now I need a cold day so I can wear it. But I have made 3 of these since December. Not bad, huh? 3 of these, one for each of my 2 daughters and then this one for me. And this is that funny yarn that I thought was going to be all mild and neutral. And this is how it came out. But I got to be honest, I do like it. Do like it. So that is finished, completely done. I am getting so much joy out of finishing things now. So then the next thing is I finished the Alaska. Now, when I say I finished, I do need to tell you that that means I got the binding finished. But I have a couple little mistakes to correct. And yeah, those colors on the cow did come out pretty, even though it wasn't what I thought I was getting. All right, let me see this real quick. All right, here is, I might have to pull this down. Let me grab this real quick. I'm going to have to pull it down to show you some things I want to show you. All right. Woo. Okay. Let me bring it over here. All right. Let me show you. But the binding is done. Yay. I bring safety pins for the most part. And anytime I see a mistake or something where I need to sew it back better, I put a safety pin. Because when you're working on a big quilt like this, like sometimes for whatever reason, hold on, I don't want to run my chair on it. Okay, this is a big quilt. This is at least 80 by 80. But let's say I had a little mistake at an intersection and it's just a little bit, it didn't quite get caught in there. So that's the perfect place. In fact, let me replace the straight pin. I don't like using straight pins because they stick you. So I put a safety pin wherever on the quilt there's something that needs a little attention. And this I'll probably sit and just do by hand and try to get it as invisible as possible. So I have about 6 of those areas. Here I just put a little applique pin. So hopefully I wouldn't get stuck as badly. You bought some turquoise. Turquoise is amazing. And I had no idea that with this blue and the black, it would be so dramatic. But okay, now, so I did that. And I've still got a few little threads. Like every once in a while, there'll be a thread. And do not pull those threads. You will be unhappy if you pull the threads. You only want to trim it off. Now, where was that thread? See, this is the problem when you're working on them, that you have to be very still and look over them. Well, I won't be cutting that thread now. And I will be honest. I went to nip a thread and I nipped the fabric. When that happens, it was the backing, but I nipped it. When that happens, I get out my matching thread and I just stitch it down. That is why I tend to have moments like that. I usually am in a big hurry, and that's why that happens. But I tend to find that I I always think, oh, I'd love to make this. Here it is. I'd love to make this quilt good enough to enter it in a show. Because, you spend a lot of time no matter what. But the truth is, rarely, never do my quilts end up, when they're done, good enough to enter into a show. For me to try to do that, it would make me miserable because I just don't have that kind of concentration. And nowadays, when I look at quilt magazines and I see the amazing things that people are turning out, and the ladies I'm talking about, they work on these quilts constantly. They are so talented, so patient. And that's what it takes. And I just don't have that kind of patience. I have a lot of patience for people, not much patience for activities like this. But it takes slow and steady. And you have to enjoy that. And I don't. I enjoy creating, not the process as much. And so, anyway, but I put some wave pattern around this outer border. Some of them are prettier than others, but I tend to find this, I need to do more machine quilting because if I only do it every 6 months, then I get rusty. And certain directions, I can do certain ways better than other directions and the whole thing. But I do keep a dry erase board handy right at my um, at my long arm, well, mid arm, I keep a dry erase board handy because that way, whatever pattern I'm going to do, I sit and practice for a few minutes before I start it. And that just trains your muscles. Okay, I'm going to do this. So, the couple things I wanted to show you, and Grom, my bestest grommet boy, decided he had to lay on this. And guess what? He's starting to shed for spring. But anyway, you can see the pattern that I used was the ripples on top of the water. So I'm hoping I'm showing you this, but I started to do ripples. And let me tell you why I did this. I really like it. I'm not sure everybody will, but this quilt, the Alaska quilt, is very busy. A lot going on. I did 10 different colors of fabrics. There's so many different shapes and things. So I said, well, the name of this quilt is Twilight Lagoon. So let me do just an overall sideways horizontal meander, and which made it much easier to get it quilted, much faster than trying to do it custom. But normally, if I hadn't done that, I was thinking of doing a separate design in every triangle. That gets busy. If you try to, there's all the different, you've seen them in quilts, the go-to designs and triangles. But it was just going to leave it too disjointed and too busy. The other thing that I wanted, oh, and I used a dark blue thread because I auditioned some threads. This is the tricky part with this. You could use black thread, but what's going to happen when you go over the light parts? It's going to all of a sudden show and kind of be startling. That's what I thought. And then I said, well, I could do the light blue, but then on the back it'll show up. And the problem with all of that is it's almost like sometimes you can use a multicolored thread. All of a sudden now I've forgotten what they're called, but multicolored color changes every so many color or shade changes every so many inches. Hi, Laura. Variegated. Thank you, my Lisa. She's so smart. Gosh. But the variegated thread. But the problem is on certain fabrics, variegated thread doesn't work because it disappears and then boom, it's there, and then it disappears and boom, it's there. You have to be careful. It has to be the right fabric and the right pattern. Now, I said I don't want it to be too. Now, right now, the wave stands out more than it normally does. Let me see if I can show you. See, if the sun's shining through that window, it shows, but if you pull it back a little, it's not so bold. It's just there. What I decided is I used a delicate weight. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Is it Omni? I have forgotten. Um, I've forgotten the name of it. If I think about it, I'll tell you. Leah Day is the one that recommended the brand, and my machine loves it. So, but it's actually a dark blue. It's like a dark ocean, not navy, but like a dark ocean. And I think it works. So, but it makes me happy when when you see the quilt in good light, it, the horizontal meandering, the ripple effect helps it shimmer a little. It gives movement to it, which I love. Now, because I think the colors worked out beautifully, it's then what do you do with the colors, that becomes important. So I was going along with this quilt, working along pretty good. And Sonia, I think the border I used was from one of the Jenny Buyer blocks of the month. So I may be putting in an emergency order for another yard or so of this border. I've got to find the quilt that I think that border was made from. But anyway, I've still got some left, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. But what I did is I had my border assembled, and the border was from just a quarter inch below this green stripe to right there. And I added a 2-inch black border to give a little bit of floating space between the pattern and the border. I didn't want to just rush right into the border. So I did a 2-inch, and that's the one the waves are in. These little wave shaped circles. When I went to cut it, without even thinking, I cut it even with the top. When you go to measure your border, you take your quilt and lay it out. You measure horizontally across the middle, not along the top or the bottom, across the middle. Because quilts change size from top to bottom. If you do it across the middle, that is a good stable measurement. Now, when you want to get the height of the quilt, measure along the center vertically. Write that down. Cut your border to that. Do not just have a long running border and sew it on. If you do that, it will start waving to you. You will end up working extra fabric in, which I did on one of the sides, and I'll show you how I fixed that. It got so wavy, I thought, oops, I've got to do some CPR on this quilt. But I must have mismeasured something. But try to get really good measurements. The problem is when you do a border, it's really better to miter it. If you just run the side up to here and then run the top long, it's going to look funny, where a miter is your best bet. Now, I cut it just to be even with the body of the quilt. Not so this much of the border, which is the small inner border and the decorative border, I stopped the sides right here on the quilt, which then meant that I would have to come in with a border that would overshoot. Let me see if I can show you what it would look like. I would have another border to put on, which would I'm not going to be able to quite do it like I think, but it would have this design going this way and this one just stopping. And so you got this horizontal and then this just stopping up into it. It looked dumb because I laid the piece and I said, oh no. So let me show you what I did. It's pretty good, but it's not perfect. So this is not optimum. At this point, I know I can't enter this into a show. What I did is in the process of doing the Jenny Buyer block of the month, I had a bunch of curved pieces, some 45-degree angle border pieces. Well, I took those puppies and sewed them together along their 45-degree angle. And if I needed to, this one was perfect. This one, it covered from right here. There's a seam. See that seam right along there? And there's a seam right along here. So I took those two already 45-degree angle pieces, sewed them together to get a 90-degree angle, and was able to match them up. They did pretty good. I will show you. Here are the good joins where the seam came up. Because the seam, whoops, right here. So this joined pretty good. Whoops, there we go. And so those join pretty good. This one, not as good, but you know what? You reach a point with a quilt and you go, I'll take it. Okay, let me see. Where are the not so good ones? Right here. So here and there. So they're a little bit off, but honest to goodness, you're not going to stand back and look at it and go, that's good, except for right there. At least if you do, you won't do it in my house. And some did better than others. This one, the angle was slightly off, so this is not a perfectly square corner. Well, what can you do if you end up with a corner that's not perfectly square? I couldn't trim it to make it square because I had to stay even with that green border. What I can do is I will take a spray bottle and I will spray it really good, back and front. Let the water sink in, and then I will just pull it. This is called persuading the quilt to a better shape. So where I had this was sticking out too far, now that I've pulled it this way, okay, because it was coming too much this way, so now I'm pulling it back into shape this way. So by doing that, it's already so much better than it was. Then just let it dry. Now, some people block their quilts where they dampen them. If you have a very clean carpet, you can then pin it into place perfectly square and let it dry. If I don't pull on this, it will probably do pretty well. So it's just a matter of pulling it back into square. But water is your friend in that doing that job. Yeah, this one's pretty good. It's like it's got a good joint here. This one is a little bit wonkier. And if you're very patient, you can avoid that. But I was on a mission. I had a quilt to finish. So, anyway, I love it. It is going to be one of my 3 top quilts ever. And I don't worry over the mistakes. I truly don't. Because what I get joy out of is the color and the pattern. And is our Bonnie? Oh, she's working on Hexies. Ah, okay. So I don't, certain things are easier to get perfect than others. And honestly, if I was a perfect piecer, I would have such an ego that you wouldn't be able to stand me. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I just wanted to show you how I pieced together. I pieced together the corners. This to me looks so much better. And I didn't know if I could really do it, but luckily when I found all those pieces with 45-degree angles, I thought it was meant to be. So, you know me, that's how I go through life. It's like it's always an opportunity for me. And I love the process of figuring out how can I make this work. So for me, it's a win. I'm going to hang this back up. Is there anything else you'd like to see about it? Hi, Cheryl Lemon's here. Oh, she was an early love. Today, Cheryl, is our 6th anniversary, so we're very happy to be here. Is there anything else you would like to see? No quilt police. I know I can't stand quilt police. I did an early show on quilt police. I'll tell you about that once I hang this back up. But I'm going to go hang this back up. I'll be right back. Let me just, okay. Let me get this hung up. Trying not to touch the floor. I have not dust mopped this floor in a while. Okay. All righty, just about there. This is a heavy quilt. I tell you what. Whew. Okay. Good job. All right. Here it is. So there it is. Let me get my big hand out of the way so you can see it. I think that border works perfectly on it. That's just, don't worry about that down there. It's just the sun shining on it. And there it is. So I am glad I took the class. I was right when I said if it took a class to get me motivated enough to work on this quilt. It was tricky. It was hard. Miss Lisa will tell you. I was in class going, "Oh no. What am I going to do?" The Some of the blocks look like baseball caps. So but I learned how to handle them, and that was wonderful. I want to show y'all something really interesting. I saw I was looking up fabric painting, and I ordered some inexpensive watercolors and the little water pens, and because I want to do some painting on fabric. I used to love painting. So, oh, thank you, Cheryl, hon. And oh, Joni, thank you. So, see this piece of burlap? I saw this woman using different things to create texture so that she could paint fabric with interesting texture. So she took a piece of burlap. So today, when I was straightening up, I found this scrap of burlap, and she did pulled threads. This is kind of fun to do, actually. I like this kind of stuff. This, in fact, not pulling them, but moving them is how hardanger is done. But see now how I have this stripe? And then she came down a little bit further and she pulled another one or two like that. And then let's come along here, pull a couple this way. I don't know if these will pull as, oh, pulled beautifully. Okay, so I can go along here and pull a couple along here. I was fascinating. People will teach you so many interesting things. Okay, then what she was doing is this is going to be like a stencil. Okay, so when you lay the fabric on top, then you take a brayer with your paint and make the paint very liquid, very soft. And so then when you take your paint, you lay your fabric over, you get your brayer and you roll the paint on. And then what you end up with is this pattern on your fabric. I found it fascinating. So you just decide how much you want to pick it over. But now let me show you how that works. I think I can do it. Let me just use a little edge. And I'm just going to use a pencil. But I was hoping it would come through. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The paint would have done better, but it's not. I'm getting, whoop, here we go. I had to push harder. See how these lines are coming through? There's a line here, here, and here, and these two are coming through. So you can see how it works with just a paper and a pencil. You can imagine what the paint would do to it. So I just thought before I took this and threw it away, I thought I would show you something I happened to see. I whoops, sorry. I love learning things. Love learning. If I could, I would live at a college and take every class that came along, as long as I didn't have to take the test. So, Miss Bonnie, this is going to be in honor of Miss Bonnie because she has the most amazing floss collection of anybody I've ever known. Years ago, let me think, a dozen at least, 12 years at least. And I want to finish this because it's so cute. This is a quilt with 12 blocks and they represent the different seasons. So I'm going to show you. This is what's considered officially called Redwork. Redwork got its name. It's outline stitching. Very simple, basic, not cross stitch. Running stitches for the most part, but different little hand embroidery stitches. It was called Redwork because in the third quarter of the 1800s, turkey red became an easy, affordable way to dye. So they would dye floss in turkey red. So everybody did red work. Before they had, and this was a commercial dye, before then they had cochineal. And that was made from crushing the bodies of bugs that live on the sap of a certain tree. And you would need 10,000 bugs to make 1 pound of dye. So when turkey red came along, everybody loved red. But so that's where it got the name. But now instead of it being the color being the important thing, it's the design. And it's hand stitching, mostly an outline kind of stitching. I made this with my quilt group at least 12 years ago. I think it is adorable. Okay, let's come down to the next row. Here's this one. And I found this free. I did it with my group, and it was, what do you call these? A calendar quilt, maybe? Okay, let me go down to another row. But as you see, I chose to use a bunch of colors, and that is absolutely fine. Hoping I'm showing it correctly. Okay, and the last row, if I fold it right, I can see better if I'm holding it. I have to be able to see through. All right, let me just crunch it up. There we go. And the last row, this one. Isn't that sweet? In typical Deb fashion, I'll show you the back and show you that I was taught or told that a good embroiderer will have a as neat a back as the front. So I wanted to show you that's not me. But I love this sweet quilt. I love this interesting fabric, and I chose the colors from the fabric. So I will be finishing this. But I enjoy doing this so much. And I have another one that I had started but not finished out of a turquoise blue. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. But I said, I think a new Sunday live stream project that I would like to do with y'all would be a welcome spring project. So I went on the internet looking for free patterns for Redwork. And here are some that I found. Here is this cute little, oh, Bonnie does most gorgeous black work. I have a photo of her black work to show you later. Hi, Miss Polly. Laura, it's so good. Betty Meisner, darling. So I will put these, what I've done, they were full page. I shrunk them because I want to be able to work in 6-inch blocks similar to this one. I don't need to be doing a giant quilt. I'm going to start sizing things down. 80 inches square is getting a little big and heavy for me, but they're going to be roughly around 6-inch square. And over in this drawer, I'm lucky to have some Aida cloth. This looks like Aida, but it's not really. Hold on. I know I have some. Here we go. So I have some Aida cloth. And Aida cloth, AIDA, is just a cloth with a strong grid pattern. Let me see. Let me, I wish I could shine a light behind it, but you see that strong grid? It's real easy to do embroidery on. And in fact, I don't remember doing this, but um, maybe I got it off the donated table. I'm known to do that. Boy, when people say, "Hey, I want to throw this," oh no, I'll take it. So I'm going to use the Aida cloth. You can just use whatever fabric you want. Just make sure you keep everything square. I would take, if you're not using Aida cloth, then take, let's say this is a beautiful color cloth, and it's not exactly Aida, but it's a nice heavy weight. And um, if you use something just like one of your regular quilt cottons, then just take and back it with some fusible interfacing like you do for clothing, for collars and plackets. But what I did is I shrunk these. Okay, so here are two birdhouses, and you would do one on one block and the other on another block. So far, I think I've got 12 blocks, but I may come across, or you can feel free to add some more yourself. Here is a block, and these I tried to make them. Let me get my ruler because I tried to look on the thing and make them no bigger. Yep, they're 5.5 inches. Perfect. Because I try to make them no bigger than 5 by 5 so that you can have a little edge of fabric. You can cut a 6-inch block. Although, do not cut your fabric to 6 inches until after you've done your needlework. It's too hard to work on. What I would do is I would take my Aida cloth and I would come in with a pencil and I would draw 6-inch blocks as many as I'm going to do. And then I'd embroider it right there on this, not cut them out until you're ready to sew them together. Because you don't want them to, I mean, this stuff will unravel, but it's so much easier to get maybe an 8-inch hoop to put on them or just do them by hand. You don't always have to have a hoop. Some people like a hoop, some people don't. You can leave the words on here or not. It's up to you. I just thought that was so cute. I'm trying to do enough different patterns if you want something more realistic or if you want something cute and sweet. You can decide how many times you want to say hello spring or I love spring or whatever. But look at these cute garden boots with tulips. This is a star magnolia with it said it was a martingale. Since I'm going to do the cartoon look, I might try to do more of a cartoon with his face. Make his head a little bigger and rounder and his eye. Make a cute cartoon eye. Then I did some that were watering cans with flowers. Whoops. So you decide, you can use both or you can use just one. But I tried, oops, this way. I tried to make sure I had a variety of things so you could choose. Here is a Hello Spring with little snowdrops. And look at this, stitched with love. This will probably be my bottom right-hand corner. Then, And I haven't decided whether I'm going to make 4 or 6. Well, I haven't decided. Here's Happy Spring with daffodils and Happy Easter. I'm going to take the Easter word out. I'm probably going to take the happy out too. Maybe just leave the flower. Because I don't want it to be an Easter quilt, but you can have it be an Easter quilt. And I'm going to also, here is a cute I love spring. But you know, I'm so excited that spring is here. Now this one, this one got too big. So I either have to shrink this more or edit more. Like maybe take out this row along here so I just have the sun and the cute little bird. Feel free to draw your own patterns. I will put these on our website. I love spring too. You like them? Good. I will put these on our website. If you don't belong to our group yet, then all you have to do, let me write my bing bing. You could always, oh, now Lisa, that's beautiful. Thank you. I love when y'all add these ideas. Our time, whoop, nope, come on, get it writing. Our time to quilt and at twc.com. There we go. If you can't, if you aren't on our group yet and you want to do this with us, send me an email to that email address and I will email them to you. So, because I've got them all saved. Now, you know, Lisa just got me thinking about having a center design with some little ones around. I love that idea, Lisa. And I think it could look really vintage too, don't you think? Um, oh, that's wonderful. I love that. And so you could come up, create your own, whatever, like she said, like Bonnie said. Or was that was Jody? No, that was Bonnie. Electric quilt software, or if you know what, I have some old iron-on transfers I got for quarter ages ago. I should look for those. Hi, Jody. Oh yes. Oh yes. Aw. Well, I think that's wonderful you're doing handwork. I just thought, what is something, because I'm kind of getting excited about spring now. So that's something small, portable, easy. And you know what? Thinking about Lisa talking about a larger center one, I have another design I'll show you during show and tell that would be a perfect center design. And then, ooh, wouldn't it be neat? You could do them round. You could do all of them either oval or round. You'd have to figure out how to get the fabric around it or applique, do reverse applique. But now Lisa has got me thinking about this. That girl's got good ideas. And Bonnie, great ideas. If you want, if you want to find your own designs, go on to Google, type in free coloring pages. That I have found is one of the best ways to get the simple enough designs that you're not working forever on them. So we're not all like Bonnie. We can just whip this stuff out, complex as it is. So, okay. But then I'm going to pick out the fabric, my focus fabric, and I've got a perfect one over there. Pick out the perfect focus fabric, and then I'm going to pick my flosses based on the focus fabric. And that'll be my background or sashing, whatever. How do you transfer the design to the fabric? Good question. What you're going to do is use a window or a light box. And let me pull out my light box down here. If I ever clean up this room, it won't be as easy to grab all my stuff because I hadn't put this away yet. I've heard. Let me get my adapter. Okay, here we go. Let me get my adapter. All right. Oh, and what I will probably do is use a good old ordinary pencil. You could use a friction pen if you're sure. Always test to make sure it will come out. Okay, let's see what I've got here. Okay, here's my light pad. And let me put this on it. Now, if you don't have a light pad, don't run out and buy one. Just you tape this to a bright window and then tape the fabric over it. And I want this one to say spring. So I just come in here. Now I am going to, I probably should use a chalk that I know that would leave. But the only problem about using this pencil, will it erase well? So Bonnie, what would you use to draw it on, hon? But here's spring, then come and little honeybees. They're so cute. And you can add anything you want to this. And they've got a cute little happy face, a cute little stinger on their round behindies. So here it is. It's just that easy. But if you don't have a light pad, use a window. Because I want to make sure that if you don't have all the things, the gadgets and the gadgets and the gadgets, that you can still do all of this. Because trust me, I've been doing it so long, all of these crafts and arts, that I didn't have a light box. So the first light box I had was battery powered and thick and all of that. So, before that, I used a window. So I will put these on the site. I wish I will show you my fabric next week, but I'm thinking about using it's a black background with beautiful spring colors. And but I'm gonna lay them out and see what I like, and then I will go get my bag of very cheap floss. And okay, spring Redwork UFO challenge 9 January was project number 9 from your list of 12. February was number 11 from your list of 12. All right, I'm going to show you this. Then we'll do show and tell. And this is what I'm now keeping my EPP in. See, I'm so cool now. I can say EPP just like you other people who've known about this much longer. So here, let me see if I can get my. Okay, let me get this warming up. All right. And here is my little Yazzie that I got at a retreat on the yard sale table for like $5, something like that. And my fabric is all in the bag right here. And here is all of my paperwork. And I think Miss Mary's going to do this with me. And what I did is I went to Yellow Rose Quilt Company. And let me find my first page here. And I got this pattern. And okay, it's called the Starry Sampler. And they have this pattern. It's for English paper piecing. They have this pattern for $13.99, which had 100 pages to it because it comes with all of the different shapes. See all the different shapes? And what I do is I print them out onto cardstock. I just want to give this a press. I had it kind of crunched a little bit in the bag. This is the first English paper piecing I've ever done. And I wanted to show you that it still has the paper on the back. This is the bonus block from this pattern. And you leave the paper piecing in until the block has been sewn into something else. If I were to try to take the paper out now, the fabric would get a little floppy. Right now it's kind of glued around the paper and it's keeping it nice and stable and still. And one of the things that this pattern, it's such a good teaching pattern. And I need to tell you where I learned about this pattern. Luckily, Mary, do you have that information? If you have it and want to copy and paste it into a chat, that'd be great. If not, I will go look. But these are all English paper piecing patterns. And you know what? If you tried to do this by cutting all the little blocks, it would make you crazy. So here are general instructions where she gives you hints and tips. This shows you, how do I sew these things together? Yes, there are Y seams, but I promise you, since you're doing it by hand, sewing this in is much easier. So she gives you the steps. She kind of shows you how to put together the quilt, the pieces in the easiest way possible. She shows how she does glue basting, and that's what I do too. And here she's showing you the sewing and where you get it. Now, one thing she did that I do not do, she does the flat stitch method of joining the two pieces together. I have terrible arthritis. I can't do it that way, and I will show you how I do it. So it gives you all of these instructions, even shows you how to pop out the papers, pressing and removal of papers. The first block I did was this bonus block just to give it a try. And now I'm working on block number 1. So now let me put this back together and show you. Put that there. Okay. And I like how she has uh, the black and white picture of the block placement so that you can go in and color and work out your color arrangement. But here is this Yazzie that I didn't even know what Yazzie was. And here are some scraps from the cutouts and thread. And these little wonder clips are wonderful. If you don't have wonder clips, how about a few little hair clips? So here I've got scissors, a thimble, I've got my sew line glue, and I've got the blocks I'm working on now. And here is one of my blocks and one of those wonder clips, a little piece of beeswax because the dog chewed it all up. And here is the thread I'm loving using. It's called Sew Complete by Superior Threads. And I like it because it's not too thick and it's 100% polyester, so it's strong. So I'm enjoying that right now. All right. And this is my favorite kind of thimble. It's a Dritz thimble. And what you can do is you drop that into a cup of water that you boiled in a microwave. You take it out, you drop this in, let it sit for at least 30 seconds. Fish it out with something that won't, not your fingers, something that won't burn, and dump the hot water out of it. Give it a second, push it on your finger, let it cool down on your finger. And it's good for fingernails because they can just stick right out. But I have been in the shower washing my hair and realize I've still got it on. It's that comfortable. You use the ladder stitch now. Ah, good job. Okay. Oh, good. You picked your fabric for it today. Good, good, good. So now I want to show you what I did. These Yazzie products are fantastic. I can't afford them to buy them the first time, but I can sure afford them on the yard sale table. So what I did is I went through and cut out every block's parts, okay? And these are on cardstock, so they're nice. They're nice and firm. One thing I learned is don't wrap the fabric on them too tightly. Leave room for your needle to get through so you're not trying to hand sew through cardboard. What a pain in the neck that would be. So here's block 2, whoops, this is block 2, but that's supposed to be 3, block 4. Let me get this piece out of here before I get totally confused. It's supposed to be block 3. Yeah. Yeah, the rest of it's block 3. I would have been sewing for block 2 and said, "Where is the missing paper?" So, okay. So then block 3, block 4, 5, 6. I've only cut out up to block 10. I still have 2 more to print out, but printing out 50 pieces of cardstock is daunting. But see how I have now all the rest of the blocks are in here, and there's still another thing. And I love to keep the little packs of desiccant in my projects to keep any moisture from bothering you. All right, so here we go. I'm going to show you real quickly how to, whoops, hold on. Let me see if I should have block 2 here in just a minute. Bonus block. Let me, where is block? Maybe I haven't, I don't think I've printed out block 2. I haven't. But I'm going to get a piece of it because I've already made block 1. Okay. And if this is not the right color for this, that's okay. I'll take it off and put the right one when I get around to it. I'm going to use this orange to show you. So now, if you are particular, whoops, let me drop this down. If you're particular, you could take and draw around this. I would do it with chalk. It's easier to rub off, but I'm not too particular. So what happened to my good little snips? There they are. Okay. I love these little snips. I only have to exert effort one way. I just put it along the edge and I come in and I leave about a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. Now, some people like Kate from Last Homely House, she will hand sew hers. So she comes in with thread and goes through the card stock and everything. And she uses a bright color so you can see it. But I tell you what, after finally using this sew line glue stick, I've had this a long time, never tried it. Now I'm in love. And there's an important thing I learned. I've learned, so can't you just right here? Oh, okay, hon. No problem. I will do it. I will do it. What I wanted to show you is before I was thinking of putting the glue along the edge. I've watched all kinds of YouTube videos. She says come inside like that. Don't put glue on the edge. Leave a little blank spot. And it made brilliant sense when I realized why. So now I do not put glue within 1/8 of an inch of the edge. Now you just fold up your fabric like that, not too tight, not too tight, and fold up all your edges like this. I don't know why, whoops, I don't know why this one's not, oh, because you have to do one edge at a time, I think, because it holds really well when you first put it down, the first side. But do one side at a time. I'm seeing that. I guess it evaporates too easily. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something I do, and I don't see many people doing this, so it could be terribly wrong, but I don't like all these excess pieces of fabric. But what I have found is you have to leave enough. Don't cut the fabric all the way to the corner, because then you're going to end up being too short of fabric to get a really solid joint there when you sew it in. I'm just coming and getting off these big pieces of excess. So I'm not cutting it too short, and I'm making sure there's enough to go around the edge and come over. Don't cut it too short that way. Enough to go around. But there then is one. It's that easy to make these. And I like this better than Kate's method of trying to sew through them. For one thing, if you sew through them, then you've got to come back and take out the basting thread. So here is one of my block twos already done. It'll probably be something I have to pull the fabric off later. When I cut, I forgot to show you this. When I cut my blocks, oh, my backrest just fell again. When I cut out these blocks, these don't show that I hole punched them. I come in and I punch a couple different holes with a hole punch. That way, when it comes time to get them out, let me show you. I used a small hole punch on this. There's two of them there. And that way, when it's come time, I'll loosen up this edge and take a stiletto and pop that paper out. And I want to be able to use my papers over and over. The other thing I want to show you is I was currently in the process of sewing this. So now I'm still learning which is the best method of sewing the blocks together. I put all of these in first. Then I came in and I'm fitting these in those seams. Make sure you match your seams carefully. And there's another thing I do. When it came to matching this up to this seam right here, not only did I sew it really good along here, but I connected it to every other corner. So there's no way they'll start. And you can see my stitches right there. But I went in and really made sure to attach to every other piece of fabric so that it is well sewn into the process. So now I'm going to show you. I do not do the flat method because of my arthritis. It would hurt too much. But what I do is I put these two together, put a little clip on them, a wonder clip, which of course my wonder clips are generic, but I just come through the very edge, but not just one or two threads. I make sure to pick up two or three threads, because if I just did one little thread, it'd be too easy for it to come off. But this is another reason why you don't want to glue near the edge, and why you don't want to make the fabric too tight. It looks pretty to have a very neat and tidy, tight block. You know, when you glue that on, it looks real pretty to have these nice crisp edges, but it's harder to sew because the fabric's too close to the cardstock. But I just take and with my needles flat as possible, push through. That way you get both at a time and you don't get the paper, you just get the fabric. If I were trying to come in at it this way with my hand angled down, I would probably get into the cardstock, and I'm trying not to. So you can be sitting watching TV. Now you do have to look to make sure your stitches are close enough and in the right place, but you just come along to the end. Now, pretend that it was the last stitch. Let me do one more to pretend it's the last one. I would do a couple stitches at least at the end to make sure nothing's going to come loose. Then on your second stitch in the same place, I would bring your loop up and I would go through the loop 2 times. once, twice before I pull it tight, then pull it tight, and then I would make another knot and cut it off. Okay, just make sure everywhere you stitch, it only takes another second and a half to make sure you've got it nice and secured. And because one thing you don't want is you don't want to get finished with it and then to kind of pull and have too much open up down there. See, actually, this is a little looser than this one. This one's the one. Whoops. I prefer this one. See, when I tug to this one you see a little bit of daylight, but I want them pretty snugged in, not too tight or they will curl. You want to be able to lay them back flatly and give them a little touch up with ironing. But I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. One of the problems are the muscles that it takes to do this. My arm is sore because I spend a good amount of time. It's my favorite go to right now. Maybe that'll change when I get tired of it. But I wanted to tell you that sometimes you kind of have to bend it funny for it to fit. Like I sewed it on this side first, then this one to get this, you kind of have to bend it and stitch it. That's okay. Don't make don't make sharp creases, just bend it as you have to. Sometimes you have to find really interesting places to put your little clip so it will actually hold. You may have to put it way down here to hold this together. Just depends. So don't worry if you have to find, but these really are nice. I would not want to put a needle through to hold these. That would be a pain, and I don't want to pierce my papers. So using little clip, and you know what I mean about the little hair clips, the little um kind of flat that flex and hold. So anything like that. Clothespins. You could use a clothespin, but I just wouldn't pin the papers together. I do not like putting holes in the pen, in the paper, except for my little thing. Dolores, hello, sweetie. We're so glad to see you. This is our 6th anniversary of Our Time to Quilt. It is so good to see you. Doris, is our real, authentic artist. And she does. Remember the cats we've been looking at lately? She does the best thread sketching of fur that I've ever seen. Just amazing. And her cat's eyes are wonderful. So, as you see, it's very enjoyable. Go all the way down to the end, put several stitches at the end, knot it a couple different times, and then move on to the next. So, I've already sewn it along here. I'll sew it along there, and then you open it out, and there you go. This is the only way I can do a neat and tidy block. Trust me. So I just thought you'd like to see this again. So we're having fun. Oh, while Miss Dolores is here, I'll show her my Alaska quilt because if she looked real close, she'd find plenty of mistakes. But you know what? She's so sweet. She wouldn't tell me. And but anyway, here's my Alaska quilt. Sorry about the sun on it in the middle, but it is all bound and it just needs a couple little stitch repairs to do, but I'm very tickled with that. And I tell you what, it feels good to actually get things done because, it's a lot of pressure on you to have 100 and some projects that need to be finished. That's a lot of pressure. So I will be continuing to work on those. Now we are going to go to show and tell. So I'm just, isn't it neat though to have this wonderful container that I can put all the quilt pieces in and just grab it and go. That's one of the reasons I'm really liking English paper piecing because it is really portable. And that's really nice because, our new job as we reach this stage of life is going to doctor's appointments. So it is very, very nice. Huh. Hmm. Never know what I've got laying around here. All right, I'm going to turn off the light and let's do some show and tell. And then after we do show and tell, I can't wait to get upstairs and work some more. Now, see, I forgot to take off that thimble. Once you put it in the boiling water for 30 seconds and then carefully fish it out with little pliers or something, let it cool off enough to stick it on your finger and let it cool fully down. It fits like a glove. Oh, little pun there. Okay, here we go. Oh, I need to try to see if my how my new phone will do on my beautiful flamingo phone holder. Yes. So anyway, I like it. I was so glad to be able to find my owl. Because I had an owl phone cover on the other phone. And I said I wasn't done enjoying my owl phone cover. So I found a new one. The same cover, except it doesn't have the pretty turquoise around the edge. And for some of you that might think I'm just willy-nilly buying new phones, I had my phone plugged in 2 weeks ago and I smelled something burning. And we looked and saw the charger cord was melting. So that I'm done with that. So we had to go in and find new inexpensive phones. So anyway, what are you gonna do? It's always something. All righty. Now, oops, I gotta get this back over here and turn this. Let me turn my microphone so I can fit it better. Yay. Okay. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Let's check. Oops, 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 oops. Okay, let's go see show and tell. Interesting. All right, here we're going. Let me see. First, oh, another thing I want to show you. I just remembered. We had, I think it was Marsha Hahn, saw this quilt and said, "Whoop, not that one. That's the dot mandala." But Marsha Hahn saw this and said, "I would love to learn how to make this." Well, do y'all remember some years ago when they had the watercolor quilts were all the rage? I still have a pack of watercolor squares that I got off eBay. I mean, 10 years, 15 years ago. And so I'm just going to bring out some of my sky fabrics. I'm going to bring out different leaf fabrics and flower fabrics and all of this. And guess what? We're going to make something. We're going to design our own and make them. The thing I love about this, these are all probably 2.5-inch squares. How easy is this to put together? You just have to make sure that your block has whatever you cut it out of whatever fabric, like sky or fence or whatever. So, this, when we finish our house landscapes, we're going to have some fun and we're going to paint with colored fabric, patterned fabric. And I think we'll enjoy it a lot. So, if you want to start gathering some of your florals and your sky fabrics, and I'll let you know once I want to draw this up, put it in EQ8, and I'm gonna change, make it my own, and then I'll let you know how many of everything that you will need. So that will be coming up in a couple weeks. All right. So now let me see. I'm looking for something. Oh, okay. English paper piecing. All right, let me see. I was trying to think if I had something here. No, don't see it. But I was looking. I did not want to do any hexies because I had sworn I'd never do a hexie. And it's like, oh, I've broken all my other vows like that. I'll never do applique. I'll never do um hand piecing. And now I love it. Um Edita Sitar is doing a birthday quilt along. And let me see if I can bring this up. And here it was, her block one. So I don't have time right now, but I'm saving them. They come out every Tuesday on Laundry Basket Quilts, and I'm saving them. Oh, that's the form for my bird count later today. All right, let me see. I thought there was something else I was oh, Redwork. Okay, here we go. So I just went and did some scanning and looking for interesting patterns. And I think, yeah, here we go. Here is, let me turn this, if I can figure it out really quickly. I think it's this one. Let's see. Nope. I need to turn this and oh, there it is. All right. See this one? This is, I thought, if I didn't shrink this because I thought that's a little busy. And these came from Handmade Gifts Made Easy. They're free coloring papers. And you can see right down here, the Handmade Gifts Made Easy. So that's where I got these. But this, if you wanted to do a central design, like Lisa talked about, that then you circled with the other blocks, this would be a great one. It's a lot more complicated, but it would make a great medallion center. So that's one of the things that I wanted to show you now. But I just took all of these other things and just shrunk them. Was there anything else? But now I have them saved like this, so I'll put them on the site. Okay, now let me drop this down, go back here. All right. I think I might have had, yes, I left these adorable ink tints paintings from Anne Lewandowski. Beautiful, beautiful. I think that woman has found her bliss. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? She's a very talented lady. Look at this mushroom study. Isn't that cool? So wonderful. Way to go, Miss Anne. If you drop by, we want you to know we're so proud of you. All right. Then let's see. Here is Betty Meisner. She sent me this amazing, even the Grinch, my favorite. I do love the Grinch. And she sent that to me. He sews too. But look at this fish that she's making. I mean, is that just dramatic? So if she can work out a project sheet or do a little video, I would love to learn with her. That is gorgeous. I have a feeling she'd be a great teacher. And look at this wonderful Valentine quilt she made. Isn't that just gorgeous? It just makes you happy. Beautiful work, Miss Patty. Beautiful. Now we're going to go to Miss Bonnie, who's been very busy. Okay, so I'm just going to go through all these. I don't think I removed some, and they're so beautiful. I don't care if I see them again. They're lovely. And I think these were all her things she had done around Christmas. Beautiful, beautiful. I love her work. Here is week 6, I think, or 5 of her current black work. Now, if you only knew how tiny this was, I'm trying to make it larger, but it's not wanting to get bigger for me. I'll move up closer. But isn't that amazing? Oh, just to think, I'm so glad her eyes are working so well now because I can't imagine doing that. And the one on the right says, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. I love that. And I love her applique. What beautiful applique work, Miss Bonnie. So talented. Now look at this. Celebrate. Isn't that the cutest? And that is classic Redwork. And I love how she did it on batik fabric. Brilliant. See, you can do your Redwork on whatever fabric you want. And this, oh, she's had this on her blog, and I thought it was so cute and so very true. I resemble this cartoon. Isn't that wonderful? Everything we look at, we think, I could do something with this. So Mark now knows when he unwraps something, he'll come to me with a piece of styrofoam. Can you use this? And he knows, oh, I can use that. I love that, Bonnie. You made me just smile. Okay, so thank you, Miss Bonnie. Oops, wait a minute. I don't think we're done. February block from Garnet. Oh, okay. And that looks like a courier knives kind of fabric. Nice work. I love the colors you chose to surround it. Here is the courage to follow your heart and intuition. Oh, look at this is a box that she keeps her English paper piecing supplies in. How appropriate is that? Look at these amazing English paper piecing hexes. Gorgeous. I want to know how she did the white edging. Ah, look at all that. I love how she lays out everything she's been working on. And oh, that has to feel good. That has to feel good. So way to go. She's got a designer's eye, that's for sure. Okay, now let's see. Who is next? Next. Um, that I might have had something. Let me see. Let me see. Mm, nope, I actually didn't. Okay, so I'll go back. Debbie. Here, Debbie's beautiful Chloe. I wonder how Chloe is doing. She is all eyes on you. Look at this wonderful star quilt. Don't you just love stars? Now, those blocks have a lot of pieces in them, Miss Deb. Whew. That was one of her Christmas quilts. Look at her granddaughter who made a wonderful miniature playland. I love that. What a cool little girl. Love it. Well, she's growing up. She's a big girl now. Isn't this neat? I love these kits because they keep your brain and your hands engaged. Fantastic. Way to go. Okay, now let's see who's next. Dolores, since Dolores is here, I the other day I was cleaning out older photos. I couldn't throw these away. These are just so gorgeous, and the level of execution is amazing. In fact, we want to know, how did you do those whiskers? But look at those eyes. Isn't that just beautiful? And look at the tufts. See the tufts of fur in the ears, around the neck. Oh, that's why Miss Dolores is a true working artist. Beautiful work. Okay. Now, Jody. Jody she's gotten her quilt mojo back, thank goodness. Isn't this beautiful? Oh, that would be a good EPP, English paper piecing project, wouldn't it? That's beautiful. Boy, now I'm getting obsessed. Look at this quilt that Jody made for her husband, the wonderful Terry. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? Do you know what? It reminds me of an Amish quilt. That does my heart good, Jody. I love Amish quilt. Now, the difference in between Jody and me, look how these are triangles in the border, and look how perfectly they match up. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. But I love that, hon. That is beautiful. Now I'm curious how you're going to quilt it. Beautiful, Miss Jody. So thank you very much. I know Terry is very tickled. Okay, Miss Joni, she sent some great new pictures. Are you ready? Okay, English paper piecing. Look at hearts. They're kite shapes, they're called. Okay, here is one. They're kite papers shapes. And how they make interlocking or tessellating hearts. Isn't that amazing? And don't forget, tessellating is when the shapes, just the shapes alone, fill up the entire space without any leftovers. Isn't that amazing? Beautiful, Joni. Beautiful. Oh, look at this. And you know what? Is that hand stitched? Those stitches are beautiful. They're completely even. Oh my goodness. I tell you what, that's gorgeous. Now, this, I would consider this a millefore. And a millefore means millions of flowers. Look at this. Some people might call it a kaleidoscope, but look how all of it fits and interweaves, and that is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Joni, exquisite, hon. Just exquisite. Look at this. Look at up close. Look at her wonderful border. I love how she picked a stripe, and look how it's on a slant. Look at all the blocks, and it's just by cutting the same piece, exact piece, and the exact repeat over and over. And you can make the most amazing things. Mm-mm-mm. Way to go. Joni, I'm impressed, hon. Thank you for sharing those with us. I am so impressed. All right. Now, Miss Mary. Okay. Here are her amazing works. Look at this with sheeps. Look at these cute little sheeps. Oh, 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 I love that winter. Look at the mittens and the cap and the socks. That is so cute, Mary. And then she took and made a fabric rope woven basket for her kitty. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. So Miss Joni, she got us thinking about fabric rope. Oh, and then this was a recipe she shared with us. And then scrappiness is happiness quilt. Oh my goodness, Miss Mary. That is wonderful. You and Jody and Bonnie Hunter all share. Whoops, sorry. All share the love of scrappiness. That's wonderful. I'm sorry about the camera. I bumped it now. Okay. Let's see. Marcia. Oh, our Marcia Florum sent me this cute. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Ah, heart chocolate with a heart and heart-shaped cookies. I love it. Thank you, Miss Marcia. Okay, and then Marcia Hahn is Here is her wonderful pet portrait. Here's the actual little pup. And then look at her pet portrait. Oh, a cute little Redwork. And another shot in the continuing progress of the little puppy. And look at that wonderful snowman with those birdies on it. Thank you for being so creative and sharing it with us because it makes my heart happy. Melanie, okay. I don't remember. I know she's got plenty. If anybody has a 3 or 4 inch button, she's looking for a button for that bag. I offered her a button until I realized that my biggest buttons are probably only an inch and a half. So if you have a 3 or 4 inch button, contact Miss Melanie. And then this bag is made for a cancer patient to be able to carry an IV bag in, and she makes them. The hospital gives her the fabric, she makes them, and then turns them over to the patients. I love that. Way to go, Miss Melanie. Here is another one of her tumblers. It's funny now because tumbler patterns can be English paper piecing. They're also tessellations where that one shape fills up the whole space. Now look at this. This is so cute. I think this is a car quilt. Isn't that great? And a flamingo towel with the fuzzy little flamingos. Isn't that great? And then she finished, this was a UFO, she finished some placemats using those decorative stitches that come on your sewing machine that we usually want and then forget about. And doesn't that make a lovely result? I love it. And it's good to practice because then when you really, if there's something you really want a special little dress for granddaughter, but it looks wonderful. The t-shirt that came from her daughter for Christmas. Oop, I think that was the last one. Oh, I know. I was going to tell y'all that, okay, now that was kind of, whoops. Okay, I got Marsha on and Marsha. Melanie, okay. I wanted to show this another time. A new member I haven't heard. I love that she thought, you know what? I'm going to make a landscape quilt. And I love it. And it looks like she had a lot of fun. It's wonderful. So much to look at and to see. Beautiful. So I hope our Nicole is around somewhere. And then Patricia Fry. She sent me a couple. I love her flamingo photos. And that made me think, ooh, I could make something like that when we go to the beach house. Isn't that great? I love John Wayne quilt that she made for her darling Don. And that is just wonderful. And she's working on her Bargello. And these are all her strips she's cut out and put in the right order before she sews them together. I love her coffee placemats. And look at this. Is that the cutest thing? I love that. Somebody took a lot of time to make that. Beautiful. All right. Now, let me go back and Miss Polly sent me some photos and I love it. Miss Polly has been very wrapped up in learning how to weave, but she took time to make a landscape, a snowy landscape. And I love how she added stone to the stucco of the house. Look at the batting up here for snow. Look at the tool for the smoke coming out. Masterful how she handled that. I love the applique stone trees. Look at a child and their dog. Look at the stone showing through the snow. I mean, that is lovely. And then she finished off with using quilting to mimic the way the snow was drifting. So I think that is very successful. And you know what? She worried about her binding. I wouldn't worry one bit. No one's looking at the binding, they're looking at your wonderful, loving quilt. Then here she did some weavings of dish towels. I look at this, I've always thought I would love to be a weaver, and then I look at this and I think, I don't think I could do that. That that takes a certain kind of brain power that I don't have. That is amazing. And ready for another one? Look at this. It's almost the reverse of the other one. But isn't that lovely? But I just don't know where, ooh, how in the world do you do that? That is amazing. So I think I'm going to enjoy Miss Polly's wonderful work because she has really applied herself. And that's what you have to do with a brand new skill. Then some pictures from Miss Vicky, and she's another one of our recent members who joined. And I love this. It's like a snowball block. And what you do is you have a square of fabric and you put a small square in the corner, stitch down the diagonal middle, flip it over, do the same thing on both corners. It's not technically a snowball because a snowball would be all four sides, but I love that. That's wonderful. And notice the way she has it. It's like a starburst. Isn't that neat? So very good job. Very good job. I'll never forget here she has made a fabric rug. A beautiful job with the colors. Very nice. But I remember when I finally figured out that I could understand a quilt by breaking it down to the lowest common denominator. It was like fireworks going off in my brain, going, oh, I know how they did that. When I realized that this was a half square triangle type block, how they made that, how they made this, which in a way, it's like another half square triangle, that's another half square triangle, just the different components and how they put these things together. It was it was mind blowing and I thought, I can do this. But for a while, looking at quilts, I could not figure out at all how they did it. But that's amazing. Good job. Ah, I love it, Vicky. That's wonderful. Okay. I think that is it. So I'm going to let the last word go to this cute woman who wants to know, what have you done lately? I think that's the cutest face. I love that face. Oh, okay. I happened to see that in the background. I thought, oh, no, no, no. We've got to finish with this cute woman. She is adorable. Oh, right. Oh, I watched a movie last night with Mark, and he had never seen the movie. And it is How Green Was My Valley. Oh, kids, I was crying by the end of that. And I've seen it, I don't know how many times, but it gets to me every time. Donald Crisp, what a fascinating man. Born in 1882. That movie was 1943 or 41 or 43. And what a fascinating man. And then he went on to he said he was going to retire and he went to work for a company doing, because he was really good, had a good business sense, and then came back to acting, would bounce back and forth, and acted until right up to when he passed. What a fascinating man. So, anyway, it was a great, great movie. And Roddy McDowell. Oh my gosh, that little boy's face. Oh, what a beautiful child. It was amazing. So, anyway, I think I'm done for today. I am tired. I stayed up too late during the middle of the night. Didn't even start to come back to bed until 4:30. Can't do that anymore. It's starting to get to me. But I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much because you've each had a part, played a part in 6 years of joy for me. It has truly been an honor and a joy to get to know each of you, to hope to bring some ideas into your life. It has certainly made my life so much happier and full. And that's how I feel. I feel lucky and full of happiness because of all of you. So happy 6th anniversary. Thank you, Cheryl, dear heart. Y'all are just the best. Oh, so we're going to go out with my first ever show. And you may laugh. It is totally kosher to laugh. But let me see how I can do this. Oh my goodness. My show was way too my first show. I thought I did such a good job. Now looking back on it, I crack up. But let's see. I think I can do this. All right. Deb's first ever show. Let's find it. Oops, 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 oops. Hmm. Too, too funny. All right. Huh. Come on. I think I can do this. No, maybe not. It might be acting up. Let me see. Videos. Oh boy. I have made quite a few shows. Okay. We'll get on your last nerve. Yep, it's been 6 years. That's it for today. Thank you, everyone. It is cute to look back at a blast from the past. I did look younger then, too. All right. Bye bye, everyone. You're the best. Bye bye.